Hello and welcome back to another episode of the AutoTrader Podcast. My name is Wandile Sishi and once again I'm joined by the AutoTrader CEO, Mr. George Mienie, for another show. How was your weekend, George?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why do people ask how was the weekend and not how was your week?
Well, how's your week going? I mean, it's the second day, you know. I just I want to get a full experience about
Weekend
it.
was good. Yeah, I mean weekends are generally a good time. You got to rest at some point.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to also kind of give it horns for.
Can a
5-6 days
CEO really rest in this day and age?
No. You know, I'm accustomed to working more than 40 hours a week, and I think it comes from my university days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where I was working 40 hours a week, studying 30 hours a week. So I'm accustomed to, you know, like a 70-hour week.
I feel that, yeah. I think I've experienced a lot of that as well.
If you do that for long enough,
becomes part of
what you just naturally do. You know?
I definitely won't be resting this weekend because, as you know, the F1 is it's finally back.
I can't wait. Bahrain, hey?
Bahrain GP, one of the fastest tracks, and it's going to be the brand new car. Seeing them for the first time racing. So,
little birdie told me that Red Bull might have been hustling a little bit.
Hustling who? With the FIA?
It might have been they might have been holding back a little bit because the last practice session or testing session they were blisteringly fast.
They were, but I mean, in the last testing session, Mercedes-Benz did come with a brand new car. So,
what are you telling me that's the reason they failed?
Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens this weekend. I don't want to speculate anything. I think it's still kind of early.
Yeah. Well, anything's possible, and I'm personally hoping that that it's a close race.
Let's hope.
Let's hope it's a close race.
Anyways,
do you think there's a third horse in that race?
For sure, Ferrari. They might even be the black horse, the one that's gonna show everyone off. Yeah. Let's just wait and see. But I think it's gonna be a brilliant season regardless.
You're telling me I changed who I support for nothing?
You might have just.
Because I decided this year I'm supporting Verstappen in the Red Bull. And I've never done that before. It's always been Ferrari.
Yeah.
But the Ferrari drivers have just disappointed me so much since Schumacher. I mean, even Leclerc. Like, I thought Leclerc was the next flipping wonder boy.
He was supposed to be.
And he's not.
Let's blame his vehicle. I think he's still got the stuff. Let's just wait and see. Let's wait and see.
Okay.
Anyway, so in today's episode, we are doing the Tyre episode. So we'll just be unpacking a little bit of the Tyre prices that we're currently experiencing as a nation. So are we being shortchanged? Next, we'll just unpack, I don't know if you know about this, but there was a Tyre Company collision probe that's been going on about for the last month. So we'll unpack what's happened there. And then lastly, we'll just unpack how to know when your tires aren't safe anymore. So off the cuff, do you think consumers are being shortchanged? Have you experienced some sort of, over the years, a change in tire prices?
I would say no, and the reason I say that is, you generally you replace tires on a normal passenger vehicle maybe every 30 to 40,000 kilometers, depending on how you drive, what types of tires you got on the car. So everybody has to replace tires during the life of the ownership of their car at some point.
Yeah.
But if you take on average, if you buy a car with new tires on it, and you're probably going to buy at least one set of tires for that car, right?
Yeah.
You keep a car for maybe 5 years. Okay. So you're really only seeing the price every 5 years. Maybe 3.
Maybe three every 3
5,
yeah. It's 5 years, yeah.
Is that a big enough reason to really notice a price increase? So if you have an inflationary related price increase in tires, let's say one tire costs 1,000 Rand, right?
Yeah.
And you have let's say a 5% increase. By the time when you replace those tires, it's going to look like a 15 or 20% increase.
I hear what you're saying, but I think fair is fair, and that's what we're going to be discussing a little bit. Is regardless of if it's a incremental change that nobody can notice. It's problematic when it's more than what the market is supposed to be paying, what the world is paying. That's where I have a problem. So I almost 100% agree with you. just because tires are so expensive, I think they're arguably the most important part of the vehicle.
Well, you got to take them on a relative basis too, right?
Yeah.
So how many of them are imported? How many brands are imported? How many are manufactured locally?
Yeah.
How much of the raw materials are imported versus dug up or gotten locally? Because the stuff up in our economy can also contribute to price increases. If you have to import raw materials, like look at what's happened to steel prices in the last 2 months.
I was going to say even car prices. Car prices, the same thing. As soon as you have a premium brand that tries to even collude or increase the price, it's going to be the East that's going to come and provide up
exactly
the same product.
In the world today, the chances of price collusion, I think, is very slim. It's very slim unless you get, unless you take advantage of some sort of regulatory element, where there's only a certain number of licenses or something of that nature, where all the license holders can collude. I think it's very difficult in a commoditized product like a tire.
There's so many different options.
Yes, it's really a commoditized product. It's like colluding with the price of baked beans, in my opinion.
I'm going to tell you how they did it, and I think it was
they did it.
If it allegedly, I think it's important.
Exactly.
Allegedly.
I don't think there's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, there isn't.
So let's not say that.
For sure, it is alleged. But anyways, let's give some data and some context into this. So in 2021, there was about a 3.3% increase in tire prices. You may think that's actually a little bit lower than inflation in the last year, I would say.
It's a lot lower than inflation.
Yeah.
So inflation was running at what, 5.5%?
5.5, yeah, almost 6%. Then if you look at, for instance, fuel, that went up 41%, 42% in the same period. And that's pretty much the culprit of every price increase. And you go into consumer goods and you have, baked beans, which have also gone up by 20%. Sunflower oil also gone up by 30%. The chicken, 12%. And then you get the 3%. Is this still something that people should be like screaming about, in your opinion? Because people are.
So what are the ingredients in a tire?
So I should know this.
Well, we can search for it. It's like raw materials in tire is natural rubber, synthetic rubber, carbon black, and oil. Okay, so that's the point I wanted to get to. Is the rubber compound comes from a tree, obviously, but there is oil involved in the manufacturing process.
Yeah.
Okay. What has happened to the price of oil?
It's just gone up by a lot.
So a single-digit price increase by a tire manufacturer in the face of every other raw material going up significantly. I'm on the side of tire companies here.
I don't know. I feel like a journalist right now because I was up all night just like trying to figure out.
Well, I mean, let's have the debate.
Trying to figure out, am I being cheated on my tires? Because I'm in the process of buying new tires, so I want to, I
mean, flipping sweet potatoes gone up 16.9%. That's just ludicrous.
Everything has gone up, but
chocolate's gone up 17%. Chocolate.
Let's talk about the most expensive tires a little bit.
Wine has even gone up less than chocolate, which has gone up 13%. You can drink more wine than chocolate.
Everything has gone up. Tires 3.3%. So hey, I don't know, where you stand on it, but I'm here to investigate and find out what's the real cause. But yeah, most expensive tires. Do you want to take a guess on what that could potentially be?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to think about the various vehicles on the road,
let's go all vehicles. Period.
Yeah, I mean, you got to ask yourself, does size play a role?
Does.
Okay, so can you really compare a earth-moving equipment tire to a car tire? You probably can't.
No.
In relation to just the sheer amount of rubber used in that tire. So I think it's very difficult to compare. But I would say the most expensive tire is probably on these abnormal load vehicles.
Definitely onto something.
Because I would say the tire has to carry a lot more weight.
So that's exactly it. You hit it. You've been in the business for too long.
And I have not read anything.
Yeah, no.
It was just really my own logic.
But guess how much it is for just one tire on one of these abnormal. I'll tell you the name of the vehicle. It's a front loader. It's one of those giant earth movers essentially. And one tire. Guess how much it costs?
One tire on a giant earth moving machine, which I'm assuming the tire is like
The size of this room, really, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming the tires almost 2-3 meters high, or a diameter. So that could be about 7 times, 8 times, maybe 10 times the size of a car tire. So if I take a car tire at $5,000, 80 grand.
963
Frickin' hell.
thousand rand. So it does, economies of scale is not really
for one tire.
For one tire, and they have about
$1 million rand.
$1 million rand
per
for
tire.
one of those tires. Look, they are extremely robust. You probably have to replace them every like 10 years or something. And they're not racing. You know, they're moving slowly, just kind of getting grip. But $1 million rand. The most expensive car tire though goes to the Bugatti Veyron for 151,000 per tire. So if you're changing the tires on those cars, you're going for what, about 600,000 rand per tire change. So it does get it does get really expensive, but these are extremely high performance vehicles, and we shouldn't use those as kind of the benchmark of how much tire costs have gone.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's the Bugatti Veyron that drives the price of the Bugatti Veyron's tire.
No, those are specially made tires.
Specially made tires for the Bugatti, and you can put it on other cars as well.
You can,
so it's not a Bugatti tire.
Well, the Bugatti tires are made specifically for the Bugatti.
For Bugatti, yeah. But what I'm saying is
you can put it on another vehicle.
I suppose you could put it on another vehicle. It's got standard size. Bugatti is 245, 690, R520s.
Very wide.
Yeah.
They are Michelin Pilot Sports. And they are run flats. So
made by Michelin.
Made by Michelin.
Okay.
Specifically for Bugatti. Literally, Bugatti was like, we need a new tire. It happens all the time. Porsche does it.
No, that's fair enough.
These companies, yeah.
So chances are you're not going to be able to put that tire on another car.
Yeah.
But it's a tire at the end of the day.
Interesting to know that these tires are more expensive than Formula One tires or even airplane tires. So
how much is a Formula One tire?
Formula One tire goes for a cool 22,000 rand a piece. And these are before you do like inflation, before you do export, none of that. So this is base price if you had to go to them at the factory essentially. So yeah, tires can get expensive, but fortunately we didn't have to worry about that, which is nice. Anyways, let's talk about this probe that I was alluding to. Do you have any idea of some context of what happened?
No, actually, I have not looked into this at all. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Maybe because I am.
Yeah, I believe in the good nature of people, and so tell me what's going on here.
I'm going to give you the full laydown as the conspiracy theorist.
Okay.
So between 1999 and 2007. Allegedly, I want to just point that out, the 4 big tire manufacturers in South Africa being Goodyear, Dunlop, which is now called Apollo Tyres, Continental and Bridgestone, were having secret meetings. Okay? And these meetings were being held at OR Tambo by the MDs essentially of the business, with a few people who were there taking notes here and there, nothing major. But these were kind of flagged as just coffee dates. Nothing, it wasn't official. It's just a coffee meeting at the airport. Now, what came out of this, or what has come out of it rather, over the
Were these
last
alleged
years?
meetings, or did they actually happen?
These meetings happened.
Okay.
However, what happened during those meetings is what's up for discussion, what the tribunal is kind of trying to figure out.
So this is at the Competitions Commission at the moment?
So this, I think, at the beginning of February, that's when there was a 90-day sort of hearing where they were hearing all of this. And let me just stipulate that this did happen about a decade ago, so it's not still happening. But essentially, what came out of it, so what's coming out of the woodwork now, is they were meeting and essentially deciding, okay, Dunlop, it's your turn. You need to raise your prices by 5%, and then we'll kind of follow suit.
Is this what they've been accused of?
This is what they're being accused of.
Okay.
Very important. This is not kind of
de
set
facto,
in stone. Yes. However, I think it was in 2008, Apollo and Bridgestone essentially, they admitted to doing this. And I think it was Apollo Tyres, so Dunlop at the time. They paid a 45 million rand fine because of this exact accusation. Is that an admission of guilt? I'm not too sure. But it's definitely an admission that something was not completely legal, if that makes sense. And in Fair Points now during the hearing, they did have some people who came up to kind of testify, and there's some inklings and details that are just not, they're proving it to be incorrect. So for instance, they said one of the MDs was working for the company. He only joined 16 months later. So at this point, it is really just allegations, but it does make you think, because, specifically Dunlop and Bridgestone, they were like, hey, I think we're going to pay the fines, or we're going to get the immunity. I think Bridgestone got immunity because they came with some information. But it's still happening. So right now, Continental is still sort of, and Goodyear, I think it is, are still at the hearings trying to clear their names. But it makes you think.
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and it's whether this is true or whether it's not true. What effect does it have on tire prices today? I mean, what is the ultimate outcome here? A fine, or
it's probably going to be a fine, yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's so long ago.
It is a very, very competitive market. As soon as you increase your prices, there's going to be somebody else who sees an opportunity to provide something else. So it's still within the consumer's power, in my opinion, to make a decision of what tire they'll be using. But look, I've always used, I'm not going to say which brand, but one of these 4 brands always. I still trust them. I'm still always going to use them. I've been happy with their tires. The fact that it hasn't been increasing at a 10%, 20%.
Well, I mean, I'm a big Continental and Michelin fan.
Yeah.
I believe in the quality of their tires. And I've used Goodyear before.
Yeah.
Goodyear makes a really good tire. So I did some Googling before the show to see what are the price increases of the manufacturers, or should I say the tire suppliers in the country been over the years, and it doesn't seem to have been significant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, that is a really a big flag to say, well, prices of tires have not gone up above inflation, or they doesn't seem to have gone up above inflation, which kind of means that everything else, the price of oil's gone up significantly, our rand has depreciated significantly, there's probably a lot of imported raw materials here. Is this really just shooting into the wind?
Who decides what's the price of tires? Should it not
the
be
market?
Okay.
In my opinion, any price of anything is determined by an economic environment.
And if the market is still paying the prices in a scenario where let's off the tires, for instance, you have a product, and do you think if you keep putting up the price and the market still wants to buy it, it's okay? It is, right?
Well, if you keep putting up the prices of something, right, and somebody else comes in with an equal product at a lower price, guess what's going to happen?
Market's going to switch hands.
Market's going to switch, especially if it's a commoditized product, and as and it's as safe. You've got to prove all those things out, so the product is equal. The market is going to switch. There's going to be no flipping doubt about that. So there's very few companies in the world that can have that kind of power,
of grip, on the market,
of the market.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading that whilst I was doing this Tyre Probe story, I was reading that the Eastern tire companies, they flooding the market now with their own tires, which are basically the same quality. Obviously, they're not specialized in the scenario where there's like a Bugatti, for instance, but and the market is switching hands. It's exactly.
Look at what happened with the Haval Jolyon.
Yeah.
Well-made car, reasonable price point, sweeping the floor.
I have a sneaking suspicion, maybe for another show, but there's another car that's coming out, also from China. I was having a discussion with one of our journalists, and he predicts that it's going to be the next big thing.
Electric car.
It's not electric now.
Not electric.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately not.
I mean, let's see. Haval Jolyon kind of took the market by storm. So
who's to say this one won't?
Who's to say this one won't? But again, it's a reasonable product competing at a level of quality at a lower price point. And guess what the market does? Look at what happened. The market switches. So anybody who thinks that a company has ultimate power over the market is mistaken, in my opinion.
I agree. I was a conspiracy theorist, but now I may have been proven. Maybe I'm.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you never know what goes on behind closed doors. So.
Look, I think it's an interesting story. It's still happening. So we'll see how what comes out. And I think it's important that people know that this was almost a decade ago. Now it's things are not the same. But it's interesting to see that these things still can come out. You can't always hide your secrets, whether you like it or not. They will come out.
So talking about tires, I mean safety around tires, because you spoke about Eastern brands flooding the market. Is that necessarily a bad thing? What are the tires are one of the most important things that you drive on. What have you uncovered when it comes to tire safety? And
so I think there's three different things that have been kind of spotlighted by journalists. So the things that are going to ensure that your tires are safe to drive on is damage. So essentially, this is the thing that costs drivers the most money, is damage to the tire. So potholes, nails, those sort of things. And it's important to look at your tires every single day before you drive them, if those things are there. If there is a nail,
it's very difficult to kind of like every single day climb underneath your car and inspect the tire. You can't see the inside of the tire.
100%. I don't do it myself. I'm fortunate that my car does tell me what's happening with my tires. But take a look. I mean, you can see if it's got visible damage and it's not roadworthy. I would even, kind of raise my hand and say I think most of the accidents on the road are because of tires. If your tires were, and outside of speed, of course, if your tires were roadworthy, you could avoid many casualties and potentially just an accident for yourself. So just take a look at your tires and see if there's any visible damage at the bare minimum.
Well, I mean, one of the things that is a good idea to do is if you have a look from the back end of your car, if you just take a couple of steps back, you can see the uneven wear on the tread of the tire. And a lot of the time, you don't notice the inside wear. So if the tire is wearing on the inside more than it's wearing on the outside, and if you just take a look at the evenness of the wear of the tire, you will be able to tell whether that tire is going to become a problem, because you might have tread on the outside.
Yeah,
you might not have tread on the inside.
That happened to me the last time I changed my tires. When they took them out, the inside was completely destroyed.
It's the part that you don't see. See, and if you take a step back and just go down on your haunches and just have a look, you'll see the tire wear uneven. And then when you're driving, I think if anything happens, if you hit a pothole,
just stop and take a look.
Well, just stop safely, obviously. But the next time you stop your car, just make sure you have a look at that tire that hit that pothole, because your rim could be damaged. The force that goes through the tire and then ends up, that energy goes into the rim, because as the tire falls into the pothole, the tire absorbs the energy, and that energy is transferred to the rim. Sometimes the rim can get damaged, and with the rim being damaged, you then risk further damage to the tire. So, and then the biggest danger with tires is not damage to the actual tread part of the tire. If you get a nail or a screw or a puncture in the tread part of the tire, that can be repaired. You cannot repair a hole in the sidewall of the tire. That's just not possible to repair. Don't even try.
Okay. Well, in summary, is there any sort of tire, I don't know, what's it called? I'm losing my words here. Basically, advice that you give to people, like how soon should you actually be looking at your tire?
So tires obviously their useful life is very dependent on the tire tread, right?
Yeah.
And most people will drive the tire to its end before the time period expires. And you shouldn't drive a tire on a tire for longer than about 10 years.
Okay. So we have here basically is essentially between 80,000 and 120,000 Ks is the average lifespan of a tire. Don't let it get to that point. I wouldn't advise it, at least.
It's a little bit high, I think. When you get into the likes of sports cars, softer tires, you're going to be under 80,000 Ks, maybe 50 or 60. I think so. 80 to 120. You're going to get 80 or 90,000 kilometers on a double cab 4x4 bucky tire. So a harder compound, lasts for longer. Car tires, I think it's going to be less. And then so if you're doing 20, 30,000 kilometers a year, you can see that those tires are going to last 3 to 5 years. And then it's my 3 to 5 year argument right in the beginning. Yeah,
look, it doesn't help to just go to one of these stores, one of these tire companies, and they can do a quick check of your tires and make sure that they're okay. Doesn't take that long.
I'd say annually, and like you do cheap. Like a dentist appointment. Just take your car to one of the tire companies and get them to put it on a lift and just inspect it.
100%. That's pretty much all the time that we have today. This was a tire episode. Thank you so much, George, for joining us again. And any last words?
Hopefully Verstappen wins on the weekend.
I doubt it, but we'll see.